First and foremost, I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakak Wadash, and double honors to the apostles of the great millstone that have taught us this truth through the Holy Spirit, and Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Brakatham, to the elect overall. And let me just back up a little bit, as well as the elder bishops, giving double honors to them as well. And then I say salutes to you brothers out there, which we are of the hopeful elect, as well as we believe that we are for pushing this truth, sincerity. All right. And what I want to do is I want to get into this as well. This is from unheard.com. And this is on Trump's sanction in Russia, which is really directed at NATO, as they claim to go against Russia with Ukraine, but yet they're buying oil from Russia. All right. So what this is going to do, again, this is going to further destroy the relationship that is already being had between NATO and America, which in conjunction is NATO, which has been going on for, we talking, 76 years now. All right. So let's get into it. Trump's sanctions threat is directed at NATO, not Russia. U.S. President Donald Trump has once again announced plans to implement major sanctions on Russia. This time there's a new condition attached rather than the past open-ended threats, which never materialized, exhausting both his allies' patience and his caps lock bottom. He posted yesterday, "I'm ready to do a major sanction on Russia when all NATO nations have agreed," and started to do the same thing and when all NATO nations stop buying oil from Russia. What is Trump's strategy here? It might appear that he's changed his tune, but the statement contains some unmistakably familiar notes. There's the obsession with the U.S. now single-handedly carrying the bulk of responsibility within NATO, as has been demonstrated over defense spending. Even the dealmaker Trump's commercial instincts are also on full display. Yeah, because back in 2019, a little before when COVID dropped, he was coming up against this man, Stoltenberg, which is the head of NATO. And he was getting on him because he didn't see that they was spending enough money on their defense. And he even mentioned as well, if anything happens to NATO without them spending as much money as they need to spend, I'm going to just leave them niggas out there. Now, I'm not saying it word for word, but I'm just saying it in my own way. All right? So again, the attitude that Trump has is going to furthermore rupture the relationship which they've had for all these years, since 49. As this reads, the EU has pledged to phase out Russian oil by 2028, a timetable that the White House once accelerated through more purchases from the U.S. Nuclear power is another flashpoint, with the U.S. urging Europe to switch from Russian to American resources. And I mean, if that's the case, then guess what? America's going to charge more money for that. And the thing with the Russians, they're just about doing business correctly with these nations. All right, that's what they're about. But America's about trying to maintain being a superpower, and all comes from America. And I mean, America's resources, including their cars, their food, no one really wants that crap, man. All right. And even if this stuff was good, just based on the attitude that Trump has, it's not so favorsome to do business with, you know? And so what I want to do is I want to go and read the book of Mark 3 and verse 23. Because this is exactly what this is. Mark 3 and verse 23. And he called unto them and said unto them in a parable, how can Satan cast out Satan? And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And when you look at NATO, just in conjunction, they've been what you would call the superpower all around the planet Earth. So when you have the division of that, when you have the breaking up of that, let me use that instead. What is that? That's the breaking up of an empire, of a world superpower. All right. So that means that this kingdom had already came to an end. As I just read to you, if a kingdom be divided against itself, it cannot stand. So there's that division. There's the spirit of error, which is being had among these Edomites, and therefore they're in that the divisionary estate. And so now they've already had fallen before they even got started. And that's even mentioned in the book of Revelation 17 and also 16. So there's a lot going on around the world. Right about now, Esau, from a technological standpoint, they want to be gods. They want to continue to maintain power overall. That's the most important thing that Esau sees, even more so than financial power. But yet and still, when you look at these European nations, they're not in cohesion as they used to be, as they should. All right? Which, like I've said, the power that NATO possessed for so many years, that's being torn apart. So therefore, there's no kingdom that they have anymore. And as a result, because of what Trump's been doing and what he will continue to do to, exhibit the how can I put it, man? The attitude that Trump has, he's going to continue to exhibit the deterioration of the relationship that they have. And then we got to go take it further back. Something else comes to my mind as well. During the time of the Biden administration, you had a sabotaging of the pipelines. And guess what? Who has something to do with that? They found out it was the U.S. that had something to do with that, because what NATO was getting their oil from, I think it was either Germany or one of them European countries. They were getting their oil from Russia, so they sabotaged the pipelines. But what Russia's doing is Russia's sanctioning Russia. America is sanctioning Russia just to get back at NATO. All right. And although NATO was going against Russia, in this case, against Ukraine, but still, they got to do what they got to do. So this is Revelation 17 and verse 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. So what's going to happen is their allies, which ain't really their allies anyway, are going to use missiles to destroy them. That's what's going to end up happening when it's all said and done. They're going to use those missiles to destroy America. And as this is written as well, for the Most High put it in their hearts to fulfill his will, and to agree and give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of the Most High shall be fulfilled. Right? So even though they may not want war and they want peace, they're going to get war anyway. A war is going to be had between the Russians and as well as the American people, and among all of these nations. Why? Because prophecy says so. So you can't circumvent prophecy. And so Esau's going to learn that. All right, so that's all I got to say with this. I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakah HaKwadash, and double honors. I want to give all of the praises and the glory to the Most High and His Son, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakah HaKwadash. And with that, I'm going to close out with this one as well. Shalom.